Join Cycling provides flexible and adaptive training plans for all levels of cyclists. Get more bang for your buck from your training hours. Check out Join Cycling through the link down below. It's helped improve me enormously. Wout van Aert tries to anticipate. Bora Hansgrohe set up Primoz Roglic. This was maybe the hardest uphill finish we've had so far in La Vuelta, from Lugo to Puerto de Ancares. Not that hard a stage before Ancares, and they didn't race it that hard, but the last 5Ks of this stage average 12% with steeper ramps than that. No descent finish like on Sunday to Granada. Big breakaway went, including 3 UAE riders, Vine, Soler and McNulty. They had the numbers. They had maybe the best climbers except for Mike Woods. And there was also a battle for the KOM points, which Van Aert seemed to become interested in. But otherwise, Decathlon, there was no one in GC that they had to worry about, like on a lot of these other breakaway stages. So a pretty chill day for them. Bora Hansgrohe didn't take it up, neither did Movistar at that point. But everyone's thinking in this breakaway, if you're Kasper Asgreen, Leemreiser, Kampenaerts here with Mauro Schmidt, we got to get ahead of UAE. We got to get away from Mike Woods, because they're going to cook us on this 5K 12% finish if you're a rouleur like these guys are attacking, although Schmidt's more of a versatile rider. So Caden Groves, he'd been in the breakaway maybe to take green jersey points, but Mike Woods, you got to remember, he won on Puy de Dôme last year, Tour de France stage from the breakaway, skipped past Matteo Jorgensen, and that's about a 20-minute steep ramp effort. He's really, really good at those. He's got Dylan Turns to pull in the breakaway. So on one of the uncategorized or shallower climbs, Marc Soler, he and UAE do a huge effort to get across to Kampenaerts and Van Aert, and that drops the majority of the breakaway. It also drops all of Woods' teammates. And so now they got 30 Ks of rolling terrain in which they can try and get ahead of an isolated Mike Woods, which I think makes sense, because you don't know, like Vine Shape, he's a great climber on his day, but he's had an interrupted preparation with his crash earlier in the year. McNulty as well. He wasn't able to win the other day on the 3K 9% climb on Cruceras. Soler, probably not going to beat Woods, so I think UAE did the right thing. The problem was Van Aert was marking everything, because this was before the intermediate sprint. So whilst they were trying to isolate Woods and get ahead of him, Van Aert wanted this together so he could take the maximum 20 points at the intermediate. Movistar begin to pace. They want to set up Enric Mas. They make the last 40 Ks of this stage hard. And Woods is just thinking, when's the next attack going to come? From who? And am I going to have to cover it? And luckily for him, Omen covered a lot. Van Aert covered a lot. Leemreiser covered a lot. So Woods wasn't actually having to always do the work. And when there's risky situations like here, when maybe the strongest overall rider in the break, Van Aert, and one of UAE's climbers goes ahead, he has to close it. But Van Aert basically was going for the KOM points, stops completely, so does Vine, and Woods closes it. But here is a pivotal moment in the breakaway. McNulty's second wheel on this descent, I think it's Woods' third wheel. Woods lays off a bit going into this fast right-hander. Vine is fourth wheel, and McNulty slides out in this corner. Vine then breaks and actually manages to hold it up, but he hits his left leg, I think, and hip into the guardrail hard. McNulty goes off the edge underneath the guardrail. You can't see him. That's his bike that's also crashed. Thankfully, especially after the crash earlier in the season, thankfully Vine seemed to be okay. He didn't actually go down. McNulty, a lot more banged up. He goes off the edge, and, you know, who knows what can happen. Luckily, they did a proper concussion check, so credits to UAE and their staff. But luckily, he was quote-unquote okay to continue the race. But now there was just Soler in the breakaway, Quintana, the newfound rouleur, pacing behind for Movistar, and this was looking like a layup for the Canadian Mike Woods, with Schmidt leading it out and Woods promptly dropping him. With no UAE guys apart from Soler to contend with, there's just nobody going to beat Woods left in the remainder of the breakaway. And so he dances away in the Maple Leaf Natty Champ jersey to win his third Vuelta stage. Back though, in the peloton, Quintana, Rubio doing the final lead out, then Quickstep and Bora take over. It's Ruja Adria who's much better this week. I think the heat he might have suffered in last week. He's dropping riders. Yates is dropping. Then Danny Martinez begins. He absolutely shreds this. Yates gone, and O'Connor is already off the back during Danny Martinez's pull, with Felix Gall waiting for him. And this is when Vlasov takes over for a very short pull. So Bora went with the really hard lead out from the bottom again for Roglic on the steep gradients, and it works. O'Connor cannot respond, and Roglic can then keep trying to ride that tempo with Enric Mas on his wheels. Sepp Kuss looking better than before. Lipowitz fourth. Landa sort of rode his own pace and started to come back to them, and Roglic acceleration is putting the hurt on everybody. And O'Connor's not Group 2, he's not Group 3, he's probably Group 4. Rodriguez and Schelmoser, they ride their own pace. Carapaz yo-yos, then Kuss is dropped. So can Enric Mas, can he hold the wheel? Could he attack? Given that he dropped Roglic on Hazelanus, the answer was the opposite. Roglic dropping him back to his best, the Slovenian, and putting a big dent into that 3-minute plus gap he started the stage with on GC against Ben O'Connor. One of the best performances of his career. He was so good on Angleroo last year, and he puts over 30 seconds into the next best GC contender. He's going to put big time, nearly 2 minutes into Ben O'Connor. And for us, it's great because the big advantage that Red Bull Bora gave to O'Connor meant that Roglic had to fully unleash himself on all these stages, and he's dominated today. 155 on O'Connor, but Woods wins the stage ahead of Schmidt and Soler, Omen, Van Aert, Lanereiser, Parabiscara, Vergalito, and Lebert. Here is what the Canadian had to say after the stage.
Oh, I'm on cloud nine right now. Yeah, my big goal was to win a race with this jersey. I've had a tough season this season with illness. I've had a tough race in terms of bad luck, a lot of mechanicals and crashes at mistimed moments. So this is a big moment of catharsis, a big release. The pressure's been building, and to get this win now, I'm on cloud nine.
You had to find the right companion for the breakaway. You also had to find the right timing to attack. How did you choose your timing?
Yeah, I mean, I was super lucky to get in the break with Dylan and Riley Sheehan. Riley Sheehan did a great job of getting me into the break, same with Dylan. And then I was a bit isolated later on when we had Jay Vine, Brendan McNulty, and Mark Soler attacking me, but I just had to keep fighting with them. And then when Brandon and Jay crashed, that really scared me. I hope they're okay. But then I knew that I was the guy to beat on that climb. I knew that I had Puy de Dôme in the back of my head. I knew that as long as I was within striking distance of guys, I had a shot at winning on the final climb because it's a good climb for me. But I didn't want to move as early as I did with Mauro attacking early. But I had to go then, and then it was a long 4K to be alone.
But in terms of GC, O'Connor's gap over halves, now only 121 ahead of Roglic. Felix Gall looked extremely strong. It'll be interesting to see how Decathlon play him. Mas loses a lot of ground on Roglic, and actually because he cracked, he is a lot closer to Carapaz and Landa and Rodriguez, who will be threatening his podium. So the Vuelta is heating up, but Roglic took a big step forward. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see you tomorrow. Ciao.